If you want to know the truth about who built the pyramids and why, stick around. But fair warning, you may not like the answer. During a press conference last week, two researchers shared information regarding the Giza pyramids that could possibly change the course of human history. The gentlemen who were responsible for these findings were Corrado Malanga and Filippo Biondi. What they discovered could potentially change all we thought we knew about the history of humanity in and of itself. Their findings were the result of using the most cutting-edge radar technology in the field, referred to as synthetic aperture radar Doppler tomography, or SAR. This, coupled with software developed by Mr. Biondi, transforms the radar signals into phononic information, which allows for the detection of vibrations down to the millimeter. Vibrations that were once invisible to the conventional ground-penetrating radar system. When using this system on the Giza Plateau, their findings were nothing short of astounding. Not only did they find other rooms within the pyramids themselves, but they also discovered something below the second largest pyramid of the three, the Khafre Pyramid, that could rewrite the history of mankind as we understand it. After taking multiple images from dozens of different angles, they found 5 identical structures geometrically placed at the center of each pyramid. Each of these structures had 5 different levels, and below these structures were 8 perfectly placed cylindrical structures that appear to be similar to what we would describe as wells that are hollow inside, and what seems to be a stairway that somewhat resembles a coil wrapped around each structure, all the way to the bottom, where they reach a depth of 648 meters down. It's here where they connect with 2 large cubic-shaped structures in groups of 4. These structures measure at around 80 meters per side. From there, the structures continue to descend, reaching almost 2 kilometers deep. According to mainstream archaeology and Egyptology, these pyramids were built simply to entomb 3 pharaohs, and they did this using slaves, ramps, and sledges. But according to many theorists, along with numerous architects, the simple math the experts suggest the Egyptians used to construct these virtually perfect structures doesn't add up. Given this revelation, one could easily look at these new findings and hypothesize that these newly discovered structures resemble something that could easily have been used to harness the Earth's energy, essentially making the pyramids of Giza some sort of power-producing objects. And this wouldn't be the first time this theory has been spoken about. It's said that Nikola Tesla was inspired to do his work based on his belief that the pyramids did in fact harvest the energy provided by the Earth. This gave Tesla the idea of completely free wireless energy. Then we have the book, The Giza Power Plant by Christopher Dunn, where he explains that he believes the pyramids were massive generators of power, and this was used by society for many thousands of years. Lastly, there's a book called The Giza Death Star, where the author proposed that they were in fact used to reset and wipe out the population of Earth, that when the time came, they would harvest the energy provided by Mother Earth herself. They then use this energy to create cataclysmic events such as earthquakes and flooding, completely resetting the population for the next wave of humanity to come through. This theory was made notable as well by Graham Hancock, who believes that mankind was reset almost 13,000 years ago and that the Giza pyramids are much older than 2,500 years that mainstream Egyptologists conclude they are. Well, I'm here to tell you the situation with the pyramids, along with the new ones being discovered all over the world, suggest that it's possible that they were in fact used in a malicious manner on this planet. I myself have theorized that there's not just hundreds but thousands of pyramids spanning the entire planet, and here's why. Back in 2012, Portuguese news reported the discovery of a very large pyramid underwater, first discovered by Diocleciano Silva between the islands of São Miguel and Terceira in the Azores of Portugal. According to the claims, the structure is said to be perfectly squared and oriented by the cardinal points. Current estimates, obtained using GPS digital technology, put the height at 60 meters. The Portuguese Hydrographic Institute of the Navy currently has the job of analyzing the data to determine whether or not the structure is actually man-made. The pyramid is perfectly shaped and apparently oriented by the cardinal directions, Silva told Diário Insular, the local newspaper. The pyramid was found in an area of the mid-Atlantic that has been underwater for 20,000 years. Considering this is around the time of the last ice age, where glaciation was melting from its peak 2,000 years prior. Whatever civilization, human or not, that was around before the Ice Age could be responsible for building the pyramid. While the Portuguese Navy still hasn't determined the origins, many might question why this hasn't been reported on sooner than late 2012. Certainly, the NOAA, who studies volcanic activity in the area of the pyramid, would have discovered the pyramid through sonar imaging since the area is heavily studied due to volcanic activity. Either the NOAA hasn't yet come across it, they are hiding what they have found, or the pyramid doesn't exist. The last theory does not seem likely given the authenticity of the find. To further support the idea that this pyramid could have been built by different civilizations, archaeologists from the Portuguese Association of Archaeological Research have recently discovered evidence on Pico Island that suggests their belief that humans existed in the Azores before the arrival of the Portuguese thousands of years ago. As of today, there is still no explanation for who created the rock art found on the islands. Was the pyramid built by that same civilization? I believe without a doubt that it's a pyramid. Now, when I first did this story, back when I first started doing TikToks, the videos went viral. They went crazy. I got like 13 million views, and I did like a 5-part series on it. Now, if I go back to my TikTok, every one of those stories is muted. And I believe that's for a reason. They didn't want any of the information I shared getting out. Okay, you can say, oh, because it's misinformation, but we all know they don't just silence every video that's misinformation. Some of it's blatant, and they still allow it. So we esoteric knowledge seekers know better. They muted them because they have validity. So what I found online that you can no longer find anywhere on the internet was actual Google images or Google Earth images of the location of the pyramid by the Azores Islands. And that pyramid is located here. So I assumed, just like the Giza pyramids, where there's one, there's generally got to be more. And if you look closely around it, there and there, good chance those are pyramids as well. Then I started scouring the entire ocean floor. And I believe I've found thousands of pyramids across the entire planet. Now, a lot of times they're in groups of 3s, other times they're just in clusters, almost as if there were small cities located around them or communities built around them. Now, a lot of people will say they're just mountains, but if you look closely at Google Earth, you can see that they don't blur out the imagery of the mountains, but they tend to blur out these structures. Why? Because I believe they will show definitively that they are in fact pyramids, and they don't want people to know just how vast the pyramids were across this planet. Now, why? For one, I believe it's because people would assume that it wasn't for what the Egyptologists claim it is, a tomb. They would feel that in the vast number there are, the chances of them being tombs for high kings and queens and pharaohs seems unlikely. So what would their function be after that? Well, a lot of people have theorized, including Tesla, or power harnessing structures that created some wireless energy. Although that's a cool idea, that's not what they were for either. So where did they source all of the stones for these pyramids? Well, take a look at places like the Grand Canyon. A lot of it looks like it could have been cut out in squares. If you look at the Monument Valley in Arizona, a lot of the structures seem to be cut out in squares. Now, I know they'll tell you that's natural and that it's water and expansion. It just doesn't seem likely to me. A lot of other mountainous areas and stones are not cut in the same grid-like fashion. You can see it all over Arizona and Utah. And why not build them right where you got the stones, in the Grand Canyon? Another peculiar yet interesting place to check out is Muley Point in Utah. You can literally see the grid-like fashion. It's rudimentary, it's not perfectly straight, which is what the pyramid bricks are. They're not perfectly straight. They seem cut and yet fused maybe together by using heat. And you'll see in Utah where each place that they used and sourced these large pyramid bricks have a river running through them. Well, probably in the process of making these bricks, it takes heat, and you need to cool with water. So they build rivers to these main rivers like the Colorado or the Mississippi to draw water to cool the bricks as they're cutting them and fusing them. Again, this is just a theory, but that's what we do here. We think outside the box, and we put 2 and 2 together. It seems that this could be a valid theory. Now, I've also found other structures under the water, circular structures with what look like a tower at the top for what I believe is free wireless energy. This is from a different being or different race of beings that were inherently good, so I don't believe these were used for malice. That brings me to the pyramids. People want to say that they were harnessing energy and using it to create free wireless energy worldwide. Although they could have, absolutely, that's not what they were used for. The pyramids all over our planet were built by none other than the Anunnaki. And the Anunnaki, in the sense that you think of them as, is not what they are. They are actually beings that are yellow and scaled, not like reptilian scaled, but yellow and scaled in a manner similar. They have slits for pupils in their eyes, some vertical, some horizontal. Now, they say that these pyramid bricks were sourced and traveled 600 miles up the Nile. Imagine the ship that would have to haul those massive bricks. Why the Anunnaki are so good at building pyramids is because the Anunnaki have mastered portal travel. They are the best in our galaxy. They know how to travel and create portals quickly and efficiently. That's exactly how they moved such large pyramid bricks, such vast distances. They were able to teleport them. They were able to use portals. And obviously, probably anti-gravity or something like that to actually lift them and move them. And no, the Anunnaki are not inherently good beings. They are colonizers. They colonize any land they see fit. How they do that and keep control after they vacate that land is through pyramids. They use the pyramids to reset and wipe out entire civilizations. The pyramids were used here to do the same. When activated, they caused massive cataclysmic events that reset humanity in the blink of an eye. Floods, earthquakes, volcanoes, you name it. And now that you've seen the structures below the Khafre pyramid, you can imagine how they did it. They built conductors that would harvest the Earth's energy. They would use these caps on top of them to put out energy or energy pulses, however it may work, and they would, in unison, more or less communicate with one another across the entire planet. And when they did this, they would literally cause mass destruction, seemingly natural events, but they were absolutely created by the pyramids. When activated, they would cause devastation and reset entire civilizations. As I said, wherever they colonize, they build these. The Pleiadians are dealing with that to this day. Pyramids that are still active and still causing destruction and keeping them under the control of the Anunnaki. Why they are wrecked here? Because in ancient civilization, the last one to be exact, was able to reign for longer than any before it. We're the seventh, they were the sixth. They reigned for 5,000 years because the two colonizers were occupied in a fight against each other. The previous civilizations, 1,000 years, they would get reset. And that's because they would get wise to the fact that they were under control of another being. They would revolt, they would start uprisings, and they would be immediately reset. So that's what the pyramids are for. The previous civilization knew this, so they went around and destroyed every pyramid they could find. They would dismantle the cap, and then they would try to internally damage it so they were no longer functioning. The pyramids on our planet are no longer functioning. They cannot cause mass destruction anymore thanks to this previous civilization. They trashed as many as they could find, also mimicked the technology they found within a lot of them, and it made them a powerful foe in the last war for Earth, but they still lost. They used technology and artificial intelligence to build these near perfect structures thousands of years ago. They discovered them and they found out they could use them, conduct electricity from the earth, and it electrifies the entire pyramid to create cataclysmic events. And that's why this discovery is so important. It gives us insight as to exactly what they were used for. Those are conductors. Those pillars with coils wrapped around them to boxes were absolutely used to harness the Earth's energy and used it against at least us on this planet and other beings on other planets. They use it in a negative way. So although they are an amazing feat of architecture, they're not inherently a good thing to have around. Yes, they're dismantled here, but in other situations, in other planets, they are very, very dangerous. And when activated, they create absolute destruction. And I believe this discovery validates that theory, but they'll never admit that they were actually for this. They've known for years, but that's why they cover them up at the bottom of the ocean. And I even believe there is a massive one in the North Atlantic. So massive, it's the size of a country. I'll show you here real quick. All right, y'all. If you're still here, thank you for sticking with me through the entire length of the video. I appreciate each and every last one of you. You guys rock. And I hope that you got some information here, and I hope it resonated with you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Right before this next portion, I was actually looking through Google Earth. I was trying to capture some good B-roll footage for this video, and I stumbled upon something that has always kind of grabbed my attention and grabbed my eye when on Google Earth, but I never really thought of it as a possibility as to what I think it could possibly be. Because if it is, in fact, that, the size of it, the sheer size of it, is something colossal. Something bigger than we've ever seen as far as megaliths go. But let me know what you guys think. Is this actually a possibility? Now, if this is a pyramid, it's hundreds of thousands of years old. It's eroded immensely over time. It would probably be the first one ever built here by the early Anunnaki. Take a look right here. As I said, massive, but you notice the square sides, and it looks like it could possibly have 4 sides, one of them being eroded more than the others, but you can still see the smoothness of the triangle of each side, right? Now, I'm going to take you and zoom you in right here. You can literally see the remnants of the pyramid bricks on the ocean floor. Look how square they are, pyramid bricks of a collapsed pyramid over time. Let me know what you guys think on that one, though. Maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but hey, you know I like to have fun with this stuff. I like to try and test theories that nobody's thought of, and I don't think anybody's looked at that and said, maybe it's a pyramid. You never know. They can build colossal structures. Look at some of the tonnage they have of stone that they've seemingly stacked, like the one in Siberia was recently discovered. 3,000-ton stones stacked to make a wall. Wild, right? 3,000 tons. That's 6 million pounds, fam. What was lifting that and how is what I want to know. Crazy stuff, right? Hope y'all enjoyed. I got more mermaids being dined on by the rich coming up, and I got a couple more stories on deck too. Stay tuned. Stay in the love, stay in the light. Be kind to others. Out.